Hello, my friend. Welcome to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Jaden, and this is PathTune, where we together are charting a course towards the shores of your highest potential. In this video, we're going to be speaking and exploring the concept, the topic, the idea about how to bounce back from something that disrupts your vibration, from something that maybe takes you off course a little bit, how to realign back on the path to your highest potential, to your soul's path, to your highest life path. Get back on the path. How to do it. What is involved. So, we'll go into that. But before we do, let's just get a little bit of frequency to release. And I'll share a story with you that just happened. And we'll use this as a learning experience and as an opportunity to learn, which is the process of transmuting misfortune into fortune, pain into purpose, as the master alchemist and magician that you are. So if you find yourself on this video and you clicked on it, then there is a message here for you. And my intention is to channel a message from your higher self through me to you for your highest and best good. So let's just get some frequency going so we can clear the space, reset the energy, and be born again. Okay? Every moment's a new moment. Every day's a new day. You can choose to be the most aligned, authentic version of yourself in any moment. But it's tough. Life throws you curveballs. Life challenges you. Things happen that disrupt your field, disrupt your state of peace. So we're going to be talking about that. But just with me now, let's take some breaths, okay? And settle into the moment. And just hang out with me here for a minute as we explore this idea. Because the only thing that really exists is this moment. So. I will persist despite the obstacles. I have faith in my ability to persist despite the challenges life will give me. Building that perspective and that mindset is advantageous because life will inevitably throw you challenges. So what just happened with me, and it didn't happen to me, it happened for me. At least that's the way I choose to look at it. I just recorded an 1.5 hour long video. The longest one I've ever recorded. No sound recorded on it. And that was my mistake. I didn't plug in the audio interface. I was probably rushing a little bit to get the video going. I didn't notice that there was no audio bars right on the screen in front of me for an hour and a half. I just assumed it was recording. And so I went through a process. This was about 10 minutes ago. So within the past 10 minutes, I've gone through a process. And I'm pretty much back to where I was originally when I first started recording the original video. And that video was on the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And it was such a good video. It was such a good breakdown of it. And I went through some great tangents, and I won't be able to recreate those tangents in the same way. So it's kind of sad. But I'm going to walk through the way to bounce back from something that disrupts your vibration. So something comes along. And by the way, you already know the answers. Your higher self knows this. This is a reminder for you, because sometimes we get in the track of the ego, of the of our emotions. They're strong, they're powerful. So it's easy to get caught up in it and to allow it to affect you. And that's part of the human experience is to be affected by the world around you and your environment and your own emotions and thoughts. But it's all about being able to bounce back quick. I'll look into it, but there's some scientific research when it comes to, like, if you allow something, for instance, anger, to disrupt your field for longer than 7 minutes, it takes hours, if not half the day to the rest of the day. There's a certain number, but it takes a long time in comparison to the actual event for your body to actually recalibrate. A bunch of different chemicals get released from your brain. It compromises your immune system. Many different things happen just on a physiological perspective, not even speaking purely on the energetic perspective, but it actually impacts your body's chemistry. If we look at it from the personal vibration perspective, when you allow an external event and you say it happened to me, or you take that perspective even from an unconscious state, then you're allowing external events to dictate how you project your frequency, and then thereby what you begin to attract. Because we don't attract what we want, we attract what we are. So I've been building the skill to be able to have more control over my frequency. And largely that is done in the mind, in the perspective, right? And so I talked about how, in a previous video, I talked about how it's the one where we said the power of perspective, or the magic wand of your mind. I don't even know the title of the video, but search for it. It's in there. It's in the channel. And it's all about how you can shift your perspective to bring in higher awareness, a more expanded point of view. But when we're in the thick of it, when we're experiencing the negative emotions, our point of awareness narrows, and we're dialed in to that, the way it's inconvenient, the things that happened that were not preferable. And then we allow that to, then we allow the emotions associated with that to then affect our frequency, but then feeding into it by continuing to feel it, even starting to focus on it even more. And as we continue to focus on it and all the different things about it that suck, that then expands and it creates a snowball effect. So then you can take something like somebody cutting you off on the freeway, or anything that happens, someone that annoyed you or pissed you off. Then you can bring that energy into the rest of your day, and then it can affect your family, it can affect your relationships, it can affect your work, what you produce, what you create, your coworkers, the environment of your team. It can affect all of that. So here's what happened. I just noticed that it didn't record, and I allowed myself to be angry for about 3 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes. It's probably close to 3 minutes. And that was when I was operating more on a reactive basis. Damn it! Shit! Son of a bitch! These were words that I said. Excuse my language. But that's what just happened. Are you kidding me? Right? Little intense, a little heavy. Chill out, dude. Hey, man, stuff happens. Shit happens. Yeah. Okay. So then thoughts, right? So then different perspectives, thoughts. I've like trained my mind to like consider, throw out other perspectives. So then some of the other perspectives that came in to my awareness was maybe that was meant to be, right? So that's the highest perspective of maybe it was a divine order, where maybe that video and the way I did it and the fact that I spent an hour and a half on it, maybe I can do it in half the amount of time with the same impact and reach more people. Maybe I went into some stuff that didn't really need to be gone into on that video. Maybe there's a reason that didn't record. Maybe the reason for that to happen was so that this video could happen. Expanding possibilities. We talked about how, like, if you get a flat tire, then maybe one of the perspectives you can shift into is to open up your mind to different possibilities. Then that takes your attention away from how it's non-preferable or inconvenient, and then it expands your mind about it. That allows you to then regain control of the ship and not be reacting, but then start to respond to the situation, and then you ultimately determine what happens from that point forward, because it's not about what happens in life. It's about what you do with what happens that makes all the difference. That's a golden key for you. It's all about what you do. It's all about how you respond to any situation. So when something comes along your path, in which it will, that disrupts you, that causes a negative emotion, how long are you going to allow yourself to feel that? And that is determined, the time of how long is determined by the tools you have to work with, one of the main ones being how you wield the magic wand of your mind, your perspective, but then also understanding how holding on to that negatively impacts you. And we talked about the physiological perspective, but from the vibrational perspective, if you're not feeling good, if you are focusing on what didn't work, if you are continuing to send your spotlight of creative energy towards the non-preferable situation, nothing positive is going to be coming from continuing to feel the anger. I shouldn't say nothing, but because anger can be motivating. It can drive an action, and maybe you need the anger to drive that action because it wasn't being taken and it needs to be taken. So anger can be that motivation force. But like I said, you can carry that energy into the rest of your day, and then it can disrupt you for an extended period of time. So how long do you want to not feel good because of something that happened? And did it happen to you or did it happen for you? That experience and the nature of how you experience that event is determined by your perspective. So I look at it from a higher lens, right? That's one way to do it. What else did I just do? I learned from it. I said, okay, well, that just happened. Now, and I didn't do it with like a complete piece about it, but I was like, all right, I'm buying another audio interface and I'm going to have two now. And I'm just going to leave this one always plugged in. I'm never unplugging it. Solution oriented. And that, we got to watch the other video. Watch that video. Oh, I'll put it down in the description. But we talk about how one of the other main ways to create that transmutation process is pulling lessons from it. So I have been doing that for so long that it just naturally starts to come. And although I wasn't like completely in serene peace about accepting it and all right, I'm going to learn from this. No, I was like, I am going to buy another interface right now because I'm not that is bullshit that I just did that. And I did it. And so another thing is taking responsibility. I talked about that in the other video too. But okay, I had the interface off and unplugged because I was recording a guitar loop and I was experimenting with like creating a loop with a bunch of different sounds of different instruments. And so I didn't have it plugged back in. The other thing is that this has happened previously. And so I and it wasn't because I didn't have it plugged in, but there was a technological error. Like sometimes technology creates errors and fails. So having redundancy systems is a good thing to do. So I have this other recorder here. And so previously when I experienced this, I learned from it, and then now I have an output out of my interface going into this recorder, and so this is recording backup audio, not just relying on the computer. But I didn't even have this plugged in because I had taken this with me over to the lake when I recorded the video on the lake, and I didn't bring it back in. So out of that experience that I just had, where something unpreferable happened, I just basically wasted, if you want to look at it that way, right? But I'm choosing not to look at it that way. An hour and a half, and a good message, a great message, is now not usable. I'm transmuting that experience into value by getting every lesson I can from it, and then by accepting, by looking at higher perspectives and alternate points of view. And also, potentially one of those point of view could be that it is saving an even more important message maybe tomorrow, because I still wouldn't have had that second recorder set up. You know? So now I've made the intention to get a new interface, so that way this is always going to be plugged in, and I'm going to have that recorder back in the mix, back in the setup. So ultimately, that's positive because that's preventing sabotage of future videos. And maybe it wasn't the time for that video to come out. Maybe I can do it better, more streamlined, more effective for you. So there's just an example with my current, and then also I'm making this video. Right? What can I do with that experience? Let's make a video about it. Let's talk about it. Let's teach about it. So now I've been speaking for about 2 hours, and I love it because I'm enjoying hanging out with you and I'm enjoying exploring these concepts. I used to make YouTube videos when I was younger, and I did it purely for fun. And at this point, I think what this 30-day video challenge I'm doing, where it's recording a video a day, I think what this is doing is connecting me back to my joy for making videos. Because I ended up studying film and television, and the reason I did that was because it was fun. make videos with, and then in collaboration we would do skits and stuff with like in high school. And now, as I'm making money with video as my main thing, it is taken some of the fun away from it, because it's blended with money and providing for security and finance and all that. And I think what this challenge is doing for me is that it's not about the money. I'm not trying to do this for money. I'm doing this to complete the challenge that I said I was going to do. And I have a bigger picture of how I can build a business and eventually transition to doing more of what I love and creating videos that are more in alignment with like my creative joy. But this is, at the moment, this is all just about keeping a promise to myself and doing what I say I'm going to do and completing the challenge and keeping my commitment to myself. And so since that's the focus, I drop off the expectations of it needing to be any particular way, optimized, streamlined, hook you really fast, and then give you these information really quick. And then it's like, it's just about me being me and me being my authentic self and reconnecting back with my joy for creating, specifically on the video side. I think that's a wonderful thing that I didn't even know that was going to come out of this challenge. And I'll probably do a video fully reflecting on this challenge once it's over. I'm nearing completion of the 30-day challenge. And I think that's a huge one, is just connecting back to my joy for making video. And I would do this type of thing when I was younger, and the videos I would make, they were just for fun. And I would talk to the camera. I would create little skits with my friends. It was purely just for fun. And I am doing this now, like I said, because I made the commitment, but I'm discovering along this path that it is for fun, because I'm having fun making these videos. I love to talk and explore and consider different points of view and break apart polarities of different ways of looking at things, and then finding, like, challenging my mind to find this balance point. Like, it's such an interesting journey to be able to weave different ideas together, different analogies and metaphors, and then being able to try to then take it a step further and ground it to your experience and your life. Not only just how do I apply these ideas to my life, which is helpful to be able to speak through it and explore it with you here, but how can I best serve you? How can I best serve the viewer by grounding these ideas to a practical sense in your life? So all of those concepts and elements of this process are becoming illuminated as I continue to make my way through this journey. And it is just truly fun. I enjoy being here with you. So thank you so much for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. Any final takeaways about being able to bounce back faster? You'll notice that as you continue to try to work on this and your ability to shift your perspective, to look at things different ways, to pull the lessons out of it. And sorry, I didn't finish this out. Like, when I was pulling these lessons, they were still frustrated, but it was like, I'm doing this now, you know, like I'm getting that other interface. I'm plugging this shit in because I'm not letting that happen again. And it probably will happen again. But that's the other aspect about it, is that things will inevitably happen. That was another element that came to mind, is that it's just part of the process, buddy. You know, there's almost like my higher self, like, hey, this is going to happen again, by the way. It's not the last time you're going to experience this. Oh, yeah. This is just part of the process. Yep. Forgot about that when I was just getting all angry. But it's okay to feel the anger and get that reactive nature. But how fast are you able to bounce back from that? How fast are you able to switch the energy back and regain control of the ship and not let it go off course and then affect the rest of your day? So I pulled lessons. I thought, yeah, that main other last element was just, it's part of the process. It's part of the production process. Things will fail. Things will not go your way. And that is life. It's part of the life process. There will be challenges. There will be bumps in the road. There will be obstacles. There will be pitfalls. There will be mistakes made and hardships felt. And so if you can look at it when it inevitably does come, if you can look at it as, oh yeah, that's just part of the process. It comes with the price of being a human. It's part of the journey. It's part of the gig. It's part of the gig. Things won't go my way all the time. To accept that is to liberate yourself. To accept that is to allow yourself to transmute and transcend into a higher vibration and not let the experience control you, but you control the experience. You control your state of being, thereby the experience or your perception. So this is a reminder for you today that you have that power within you at all times. And it does start with just a simple a simple switch of perspective. A simple wave of the magic wand of the mind. Hold on. A simple pause. How am I feeling? Awareness. What's going on? Allowing yourself to feel it and then actually noticing that you are feeling it. So as I was getting angry, I was aware that I was allowing myself to be angry. And I wanted to allow myself to do that because I felt the wave of the reaction. So you have to feel it in order to allow it to go through. Otherwise, I would just be like, and then I would sit back down and just be all frustrated with it and be like, hey guys, how you doing? But no, I allowed myself to feel it. Damn it, But then I let it flow through, acknowledge that I was angry, and then that awareness led to, oh yeah, perspective. What other ways could it be? And then as I began to focus on the other possibilities and the expanded awareness, then that started to shift my vibration, consider other options. Oh yeah, it could be for other reasons. I'm going to pull the lessons out. I'm going to transmute it any way I can. I'm going to make a video about it because now this experience is raw and fresh on my mind. That's a freaking transmutation right there. Fire scene one. There's one right there for you. Live in action. So I think that's complete. I think that's a complete idea. Just take this information, apply it to your life. Use my experience that just happened and will happen again, and apply it to your next obstacle, the next disruption in your energetic field, in your emotional landscape. Think back to this video next time you find yourself boiling with anger or getting annoyed or pissed off, or you let something take over. You let an external experience start to change the way that you are operating. Think back to this video and remember, you're in the driver's seat. Are you going to let that experience control you, or are you going to control your experience? Pull the lessons, expand the awareness, transmute. Do something with it. Cool. I'm looking forward to seeing you on the next video. If you have not subscribed yet, consider subscribing. It does help support the channel, helps the channel grow. Also, liking the video with the little thumbs up, that helps as well. If you want to take that a step further, you could even drop a comment. What's your biggest takeaway about this? How are you going to apply this? Or how could you have applied this? Or in what aspect in your life could one of these details, one of these ideas, these golden nuggets that I just shared, how could that be a positive influence in your life or others? One more step further would be to share this. Just shoot somebody a text. If somebody pops in your mind right now that could benefit from this message, just shoot it on over. You don't have to say anything. Just send them the video. That could help too. So I really do appreciate your support. I'm really excited and looking forward to the next video. It was my pleasure to serve you today with this message, and I will see you next time.